Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Michigan International Speedway. We'll go ahead and get started with our morning availability. We welcome Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 Interstate Batteries Toyota, coming off last week's win and 3 wins so far this season. Looking good for the chase. Kyle, talk a little bit about coming into Michigan.
We've had some good days here. We've had some not so good days here, but this spring was actually pretty good for us. We qualified okay, but then got back in traffic after a pit road deal and getting a penalty there, and then come back up through. So finished fourth, which was good for us and our team, and how sometimes we run here. But excited about the opportunity to come back and try to change it up a little bit, maybe run a little bit better this time, and just be able to get the Interstate Batteries Camry back to victory lane, hopefully here in Michigan.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. We'll start right here in the middle with Mike.
Mike Hember, USA Today. Kyle, how do you play the next 4 weeks? Obviously, you want to try to win, but do you have some space now to kind of experiment, goof around with some things?
Yeah, I think that we certainly have a little bit of leeway there that we can play. And, essentially you play with, I think the biggest thing you're going to play with is just some gambles, on the racetrack and what you can do, and, see if you can't get some wins through some creative pit strategy or something. But you also don't want to get yourself too far off base of what you've done so far this year that's allowed you to run well and finish well. So biggest thing for us is that the wins mean the most right now, and trying to get some bonus points. I've said that in years past, and sometimes we've won and other times we haven't. So again, you just got to essentially keep it real and, not venture too far off base.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Wolfgang, then go to Dustin and Jeff.
Wolfgang Monzer from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. Kyle, especially for the chase races, is there any possibility or cooperation with Toyota America to develop a new engine with new parts, or did you use the same engine like all the races before?
I think we have a new package here in Michigan with TRD and what they've been able to do for us this year. We kind of got back to basis from the beginning of the year in Pocono a couple weeks ago, and last week being a road course race, it's sort of our short track package, so it's a little bit different than our big track stuff. And now being back this week at Michigan, our big track, we're back to our big track stuff, and trying to fine tune this a little bit yet again, and seeing if we don't have another way to make some more gains for some more chase races down the road.
Okay, we'll go Dustin, Jeff, and then Bob.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Kyle, when you moved up to Cup full time, I think you had just a little bit fewer than 50 nationwide truck races combined. Now we're starting to see maybe some younger guys starting to come up, Austin Dillon, maybe potentially a Kyle Larson, some other guys. As we start seeing maybe this younger group starting to move up a little bit higher, what were the challenges like when you got in the car? Every driver is different, I understand that, in every number of races. How prepared were you? What did you learn? I know, and how big of a change was it from year one to year two? Because I know you jumped way up in the points the second year.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing was, whether you're ready or not. I don't think you're ever really ready to make the jump from truck or nationwide to Cup. I think the jump is just so large that, you can definitely see it, whether you're involved in it or whether you're outside watching it. I think sometimes the Cup guys like myself make it look that way when we go to nationwide and show what we can do there and lead all the laps, run up front, whatnot. But you can only give so much sense to those guys in nationwide of how strong we are as drivers and teams of what it's going to be like at the Cup level. And so, making that jump, it's challenging because the competition's so stiff and your car has to be so good, and you've got to be able to communicate with your team and everything like that. A lot more in particular than you do, say, in the other series. So, for me, I probably wasn't ready, but the first year was a little rough. It was a little rocky. The cars are extremely hard to drive and get used to. But then, the second year, it seems like you start picking up on things. Your competitors start picking up on who you are and how you race. And then, maybe you get cut a little bit more brakes when you don't have a yellow stripe across your rear bumper. And then, from there, that's when you really start to develop into your own and become a part of the series. So, rookie years are tough. I think you have to concentrate on making your sophomore year better than your rookie year and not go into that sophomore slump, sort of say. But then, the third year, fourth year, you've got to definitely be in your own.
For not being ready, what you said, you still wanted the Cup level that first year. So how did you do that? And if I can put you on the spot, is Kyle Larson in your mind ready to move up, or what do you see out of him? I won 2 races my rookie year. The first one at California, that one was earned. Maybe the second one at Phoenix was a little bit of luck, but I think it was also earned. I passed Biffle in the last run after the final pit stop and went on to win that one. So that one was cool. The thing is when you're in truck or nationwide or wherever you're coming from, you need to be winning. And if you're winning, you're used to that feeling. So then when you get to the Cup level and you don't have the wins coming so often or as readily available because they're a lot harder to get, you seem to get down on yourself a little bit, and it seems to make you wonder sometimes whether you are ready or aren't ready. But you definitely just need to, keep plugging along, keep trying, I guess, and make the most of the opportunity that you have to run well, and maybe not necessarily win, but just to run well. So is Larson ready for it? You could say he is, you could say he isn't. It's the same as myself. A lot of people said I was. I ran the Nationwide Series in 2004, and changing a couple races, the way the outcomes were, maybe I could have been champion, but I was racing Truex for the championship, and we had 5 poles and 5 wins on that year, and every week we went into the weekend thinking it was either Truex was going to win or we were going to win, and there were still Cup regulars coming over, and we didn't care, it was either going to be me or Truex. And so that was fun. But, times have changed a little bit, cars have changed a little bit. So Larson, I think, is in a different situation than I was. I'd like to see him more top 5s, more challenging 4 wins like he was at Bristol earlier this year. In a couple other places, he's been real close. But, you could throw a guy like that into Cup car, and he could be another Jimmy Johnson. Doesn't win very much, or if ever, in Nationwide, but then goes and wins 60-something Cup races, All
right, we'll take our next question from Jeff, then go to Bob.
Hey, Kyle, Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. I know that Fox Sports 1 is on your 18 truck driven by Joey Calder. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Speed going away today and then everything transitioning to Fox, and we're losing some motorsports programming.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to lose some. I'm not sure exactly how much we're losing. I think we're still keeping most of the Speed NASCAR coverage the same on Fox Sports 1. So, I think the 2 shows that I saw this past weekend, last Sunday, that I'll miss is, of course, Speed Center. I mean, Speed Center is awesome. You get to watch and see and get the outcome of races across the world in 60 minutes. So I think that program was awesome. And then Dave Despain's show with having the fan interaction and everything else on Wind Tunnel was also a cool show. So it's a shame to see those 2 go. I still feel like you got plenty of TV time. You're on the air 24/7. You got plenty of time to run those shows, but that's my opinion. So, through the weekends, though, with the racing coverage, practice coverage, and all that, I think the TV schedule is still supposed to stay the same, which is good for us. It's good for the Truck Series, and in 2015, it'll be good for Nationwide. It'll be good for Cup. So, all we can do is keep asking the network to show more if we need more.
Okay, we'll go Bob, and then final question from Lee.
Bob Packer, Sporting News. Can you kind of just talk about your demeanor and just compare it to a year ago? How much are you more calm? Are you less nervous and just maybe less angst over making the chase compared to a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, a year ago, this day is entirely different to today. So, being able to have 3 wins and be 5th in the standings, you feel like you're a solid lock for the chase. I think we are, and that there's some things that we can do now that can help us maybe get a couple wins before the chase starts, get a couple more bonus points. But in all, to be in a different situation this year is a lot easier feeling to walk around and to go through the weeks and to come to the weekend and get ready for racing. So, you try to not dwell on the things that knock you back as much, and that you can focus a little bit more on the positives. And seeing as though there's so many of each all the time, it's a lot easier to to have the positives keep you positive and keep you motivated to move forward.
All right, Lee, go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Are you surprised after you heard the news about Juan Pablo Montoya?
A little bit, yeah. I thought that they were running better this year, so I figured that there would be some, some negotiations there, but it seemed like there may not have been any.
I mean, how much leeway, you being a team owner and you being a guy who spends a lot of time at the shop with your team and understand camaraderie and building that and what it means to a team, 7 years is a long time to give somebody an opportunity to kind of get it.
Yeah, sure. Being in the sport for 7 years, yeah, I mean, essentially you got to think that you get it. But, 2 years ago, I would say Ganassi was sort of on, I think McMurray won 3 of the sport's biggest 4 races or something like that. But you look at their finishes outside those races and the 42 team as well. I mean, they were sort of on a decline. And last year, it felt like our year. I mean, it was just total devastation week in, week out. They just couldn't get anything right. And I think that had a little bit to do with bringing in a lot of new people. I mean, they pretty much cleaned house and brought in a lot of new people. They got rid of Glover. They got rid of Steve Meal, and they brought in some new blood. And Chris Heroy, I'm a huge fan of. I love him. I think he's a great crew chief, knows a lot. He's very smart. I think he knows a lot about race cars. But yes, last year I think was his learning year. I mean, being a new crew chief, he never was a crew chief in Nationwide, nothing. I mean, he jumped to a Cup crew chief. And so I think it's the same to be said as a driver. I mean, the Cup Series is just so different that there's a lot to learn there. And so that you could start to see it turn the trend a little bit towards the last 10, 12 races that they were starting to get better. And this year they've ran better. I think the organization as a whole has been a little bit better. They're still down in points, but they've had some brighter moments. They've had some devastation, some bad results. But, yeah, I mean, I guess when you've been around for 7 years, and I don't know the whole story, but there's got to be some underlying reasons there.
Kyle, thank you for your time today. Good luck this weekend.
All righty, thanks.